Hello my friends and welcome to this getting started tutorial for X4 Foundations. I have loaded the game with the default scenario called the Young Gun. When you load this default scenario, you will arrive at the equipment dock in Black Hole Sun. What we're going to do is we're going to go through the basics of things, what you can find here at the equipment dock, how we interact with the ship, make some customizations, and do some other things. First of all, you will be starting with your own fresh little ship, which is known as an Eclipse Vanguard. It has a single weapon of the lowest quality. It has a single engine, also of a basic quality. Up on top, it has its basic single shield, and you will notice that it has its own icon on the outside. The first thing that we're going to talk about is how we interact with the most important aspects of the game, and that is through the map. From the map, you can access everything in the game from one basic location. To access the map, hit M. When you have done so, you will now see the sector map. Sectors are hexagon-shaped spaces that represent an area in space. This is not the entirety of the area in this sector. It is only a section of it. And if we fly with our ship past the boundary, what will happen is these boundaries will continue to extend, basically zooming out on this particular sector of space. When we look at this interface, there's a lot of stuff here, but it's not as intimidating as it looks. First of all, we will be able to see the ships and other items that are in our local area. Small-sized vessels will have just a plain chit, either something that's square like this guy, or something that's triangular like this guy. Medium-sized ships will have a chit with a single line at the bottom, so like this fellow here, this fellow here. They are medium-sized ships. Large-sized ships will have a chit with two lines under it, like this fellow here, this high-tech trader. Now, if you see a ship that has a crown above its icon, it means it is a squadron or group leader and has other ships associated with it. Other icons that you will see will be solid icons like this one, which usually represent police forces. In addition, very large icons like this Argon construction vessel, which is a mammoth-sized vessel. You will see icons that represent different space stations, some of them large like the equipment dock here, some of them smaller like this hull part factory. At some of these locations, you may see gold icons that represent missions that you can undertake. And to access those missions, simply right-click, and it will give you the information on the mission, what its objective is, what faction it's for, the rewards, its difficulty level, and if there's a time limit on that mission. You can accept it, you can close it to deny it, or you can open the briefing for the mission, in which case it will open up a full-page explanation. Over here, this gray icon represents the entrance to a superhighway and the reception point of a superhighway. Superhighways and jump gates will always show up as a gray icon. If we have a starbase of some sort on the map, we can zoom in, and zooming in by rolling the mouse wheel will allow us to actually see a fairly detailed representation of that station. Here we have an icon representing a satellite, and that's about it for what you will find on the map, though you will sometimes see question marks that represent items that have not yet been identified by getting within a close enough range to visually identify them. All right. On the left, we have a basic information panel. This is the basic map information panel. At the top, we have the object list. This will show a list of every item that is within your field of view on the map. So as you can see out here, we've got all this stuff. Well, as I zoom in and we see fewer and fewer things appear in the list. In this list, we will also have our own ship always highlighted in green in the list. We'll have its status, in this case docked, as well as the health of its shields and its hull. All right. The next tab
is now open for anyone wishing to dine before
is the property owned tab. This will show any ships or any stations that we own. This will allow us, if we so desire, to access information about those items, and we can do that either by right-clicking it and selecting information, or by clicking this little information button down here once it has been selected. By opening it up, it will give us the name of the ship, who owns it, its location, its model, hull, shield, cruising speed, its weapon output, radar range, and so on and so forth. It will also give us a whole selection of things like the personnel that are on the ship, including the ability to look at detailed crew lists, what may be stored in its hold, its ammunition, countermeasures, deployable items like satellites, laser towers, mines, and so on, whether it has drones, just a whole plethora of information here. So first icon, anything that's visible in the sector. Second icon, our personal property. Third icon, mission offers. So any missions such as these here that are visible around us can be seen here. There are guild missions, but then there are general missions. And you can see a return to normal order, fragile salvage, a return to normal order, fragile salvage. Below that, we have a mission manager that will show us any missions that we currently have accepted, whether guild missions, regular missions, upkeep missions like getting a pilot for our ship or providing money to a station we may own, and also guidance missions. What a guidance mission does is it allows us to follow a marker to a particular point. If we were in our ship, we could actually set a marker, and that marker would be listed here under guidance missions, and I'll show you guys that in just a few moments here. And we've already seen the information tag. The other we have here is managed plots. We are able to take possession of a space within space and build a star base within it. And this is where we claim plots and manage plots when we do so. So that is all the icons under the map section of the map. Then we have dock interactions. Dock interactions we can either call up from the map, or they will come up automatically when we enter the pilot's seat. So let's come on in here and let's just climb up the ladder. That's how you enter your ship.
Elite Vanguard.
To enter our cockpit seat, we hit F. F is the default interaction key in the game, and you will use it to interact with NPCs, panels, and so on. And you'll notice when we sit down, we get the dock interaction panel. Same as we can access it from the map. The dock interaction panel allows us to buy ships if we're in a starbase that sells ships, get up out of our seat, interact with a trade menu for items that are in our cargo or that we want to purchase and put in our cargo hold, undock our ship and fly away, gain access to the same ship information that we were able to get by going to our property owned tab here under normal map, and lastly to upgrade or repair docked ships if we are in, again, a star dock or a star base that is capable of doing upgrades or repair. The next icon over is our personal options, player information. All right. The first thing that we have here is Empire. And when we go to the Empire tab, one of the things that we will be able to do by default is change the icon that's on the outside of the ship. There are a whole series of fun and interesting icons associated with the game, but we can also add custom logos to the game. The information to do this is very straightforward. I will do a video specifically about how to add custom logos to the game, but just know at this point that we can add custom logos to the game. I'll add my Squatchcraft logo to our vehicle, and in addition to being able to change the logo, we can change the default skin. You see we have several skins available here. We're going to go to this green one, for instance, or we can go to that one. We have a number of them available. Let's go with the green one. All right, we have our inventory, which is our personal inventory and what its credit value is, our available cash, and our total cash and station accounts, how many ships we own, how many stations we own, our inventory, how many inventory items we have, the number of hired personnel we have, the average skill of those hired personnel, the total skill of our personnel. I'm sorry, the ships are very loud here. Our any global standing orders that we have with those personnel, as well as venture ships and total value of venture inventory. Now, venture ships, it's an online function of the game in which we can build ships, send them through special gateways by an item that we add to a station that will actually allow them to go and play in other players' versions of the universe, fly around and do things, these NPC ships, and if successful, come back with things like skins and modules and things like that. All right. We also have a personal inventory. If we pick up certain items in space, if we mine certain items in space, rather than going into our cargo, they'll go into our personal inventory, and as a result, they'll show up here. We have modifications. These are modifications that we have added to our ship. We do not currently have any chassis, weapon, shield, or engine modifications on this ship. Then we have our logbook. The logbook shows any information that has been put forward by the game regarding our transactions, things that have happened to our fleet, any of that. We have a whole series of different categories that we can find out about. We can look at our general logbook, we can look at what's going on with missions or upkeep, our squad, and so on and so forth. We have no entries in our log because we haven't done anything yet. Then we have account management. This is where we can add money to stations that we have control of. The stations will need money for operations costs, and this is where we can add money to those accounts. We have factions and relations. These are the many factions that are within the game. The Antigone Republic, the Argon Federation, which is where we are now, the God Realm of the Paranid, Hatikva Free League, Holy Order of the Pontifex, Telati Company, and the Xenon. And there are more of them, we just see no sign of them yet. And it'll show us what our reputation is with them, and of course we're starting with a reputation of 0. Now lastly, we have here some statistics, total time spent playing a map, everything from the laser shots that we've fired to how many beacons we've launched. All that information is here. But what it's time for us to do is it's time for us to get out of this exceptionally loud environment. The last icon here being game settings, by the way. And this up here has to do with searching. Wow, let's get ourselves out of here before I go deaf. All right, what we're going to do is we're going to undock. Click undock. We'll rise up, hold down your left mouse button and move the mouse, and this will cause your ship to move, to turn in place. Roll your mouse wheel forward and you will begin to move. We're going to get out of this immense amount of noise so that we can hear ourselves think. I have no idea why there are so many ships coming in and out of here right now, but holy cow, it's ridiculous. Oh, blessed silence. All right. Now that we are out of that cacophony, let's discuss this last little bit of the map interface. Right up here on the right side, what we have is we have trade filters and a reset to top view, okay? If I hold down my right mouse button, I can shift the map around in its galactic plane. If I click reset to top view, it'll set us back to the top-down view of the map. The trade filters, if clicked on, will show all the things that any visible stations here in the system will buy under bought wares or sell under sold wares. So in this case, if we get this out of the way with a click and we zoom in tight on the Argon equipment dock, we'll see that they are buying energy cells, smart chips, and antimatter converters, but they are not selling any items currently. If we come over here instead to the smaller station, the Argon hull parts factory, and we zoom in, we'll see that they buy graphene, medical supplies, and energy cells, but they also sell hull parts. So you'll notice that as we come out, we can see information about all of them. And as we zoom in, it goes to specific stations, okay? And that just takes care of all of that. We have filter settings in which we can adjust what we want to show here. We can get a legend that will give us everything that's on the map and what the icons mean. Everything from person of interest and faction representation, satellites and different kinds of drones, fighters. I mean, all of that is there. So if you're wondering what anything represents within the map, all you have to do is click legend and you will get that information. I'm going to turn off the trade filters so that we don't have to see that. And what we're going to do now is focus on how we pilot our ship. Sasquatch, Sasquatch, knocking on the trees, chucking rocks and screaming like a troop of chimpanzees. Sasquatch, Sasquatch, running around my place. Are you the missing link, or are you from outer space?